all over the world. Places I didn't want to go, places I hope I never go back to. But in the time that before He saved me, just to tell you how far He had to reach down, I was bound by alcohol, lived my life daily, buying alcohol, getting drunk, smoking dope. I tell people the only thing that kept me from going down the toilet bowl, if you know anything about toilets, is that little wax ring in the bottom. I was holding on for dear life. But one day, in a little chapel in a place called Bremerhaven, Germany, 7,000 miles from here, not even on the same continent, God reached down and picked me up out of a real deep pit and turned my life around. He delivered me. Listen to what I'm saying. He delivered me. It wasn't that I quit. He delivered me from alcohol abuse. He delivered me from substance abuse. He delivered me from cigarettes. He delivered me from a lot of other dumb things that I did. See, when I got saved, maybe like some of you had an anger problem. I would put my fist through walls, kick stuff, throw stuff like a little kid. I was a grown man, thought I was anyway. But over time, that anger, that potty mouth, I know what I mean. If I shake your hand, do something. I mean, God reached down and just, over time, turned my life around. Amen. I've seen deaf ears open. Literally. I've seen cancer healed. I have two sons that are living testimonies of God's healing power. Reach down, heal somebody. A 10-year-old son at the time, he was 10-year-old. We were taken by ambulance, he and I, from Blanchard Army Hospital in Fort Campbell, to the Vanderbilt Pediatric ICU, immediately in the ICU, and determined that he had a malignant brain tumor at 10 years old. The doctor told my wife and I, it ain't looking good. Without chemotherapy and radiation, he's only got a few months to live. We're going to have to put in a brain shunt, we're going to have to do this and do that. And after a couple of days, it was a basket case. You're talking about my son. They're telling me he's going to die. But you know what? After a few days in the hospital, I began to speak to a child to me. My son woke up in the middle of the night. He said, Dad, I had a dream. What was the dream about? He said, I saw this thing get smaller, till it was gone. A few nights later, he said, I had another dream. I said, what? He said, I was testifying in Sunday school how God healed me. On Easter Sunday, 1995, we walked out of Vanderbilt Hospital and went straight to church. He laid on the front row of the church. He laid down on the front row of church. Today, he sings on the praise and worship team at our church. He's married, has 3 children. That was in 1995. He does not have a brain shunt. He's never had chemotherapy, never had radiation. And within what was supposed to be a 5-year process, within 3 years, from 1995 to wasn't even that long, 1997, the doctor came from Vanderbilt to Fort Campbell, he looked at my son, he said, you don't need me. He said, there's nothing wrong with you. If you ever need me, you call me. You know where I already with God. Isn't God good? And our oldest son, here comes the devil again. Attacked. Had a tumor in his bladder. I had to go through a small surgery. Not healed. Never had to go back. Never had any more problems. See, one of the things that we need to realize is that God is able. Amen. God is able. We look at God, we say, that's too big for God. There's nothing too big for God. What we say is, oh, I got a disease that the doctors say is going to kill me. That's not what Jesus said. He said, I have come that you might have life and that more abundantly. first thing Brother Gary told me when I got here was, Pastor's not here. He's sick. I don't know, Pastor gets sick. What he's going to do is pray for Pastor. You know, God's arm is not shortened, and he can't reach to where Brother said he is healed. I think God's bigger than a kidney stone. Have you ever read this story in the Bible where the man said, I have a servant who's sick unto death? Jesus said, let's go to your house and I'll pray for him. The servant said, oh no, I'm a man that has sin under me. People watch me all the time, but if you'll just speak the word, my servant will be made whole. Don't you know? The Bible tells us that he was made whole that very hour. You know why things don't happen? Disobedience. God spoke to me a few days ago about tonight's service, about we need to become obedient. Obedience. Obey God. When God speaks, let me tell you something. People get confused and they act like the devil's telling them to read the Bible. The devil ain't going to tell you to read the Bible. The devil's not going to tell you to pray. The devil's not going to tell you to fast. God's speaking to you saying, you need to do a little more so that you can get a little more. Because if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. If you want more, do a little more. Well, I go to church. That makes me a Christian. Going to church doesn't make you a Christian anymore than standing in the garage makes you a car. I didn't make that up. Someone else did. It is true. You have your Bibles and I can follow along. Just want to share with you. I say briefly, but you know those are preachers' famous last words. But in the book of Jonah, chapter 1. Jonah in chapter 1. Stand with me if you will for the reading of the word. Just want to read verses 1 through 3. It says, now the word of the Lord came unto Jonah the son of Amittai, saying, arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord, and went down to Joppa. He found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof, and went down into it, to go with him, or to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. Father, just have your way tonight. Lord, let your word do what you intend for it to do. God, let me be a yielded vessel that speaks your word. Amen. You may be seated tonight. Jonah willfully disobeyed God. He willfully said, I'm not going where you send me. You've not changed much today. Can you say amen? Sometimes God speaks to us and we choose not to go. I made a prayer one day. I said something to God. I said, God, if you'll open the doors, I'll go. And I've been called before, and I thought, and immediately those words came back to my mind. You said, if I'll open the door, you'll go. I called the pastor and said, what time does church start? Jonah was one who said, I know what I'm supposed to do. How many of you know what we're supposed to do? But he said, I'm going to choose to do it different because I want to escape from the presence of the Lord. He rose to get away from God's presence. The place where God told him to go, he chose to try to go somewhere different. He didn't want to do what he was supposed to do. Don't raise your hand, I'm going to get something there. God said, do something, we don't want to do it. God tells us to lay down something, and we don't want to lay it down. Why? Because we're comfortable there. Sometimes when we get out of that spot where we're comfortable. So y'all have a nice church, comfortable, nice pews. We were blessed with a nice church too. It's a cinder block building. The sound bounces like crazy. The brother would be throwing stuff. He'd be at the altar. We keep our sound guy busy. But over the 9 years we've been in that building, Brother Gary Shedworth, we were in the log cabin. We met in hotels for 7 months before we got into a permanent building. We've seen God move, seen God do things, because we try to be obedient. And obedience is where we need to be. We need to be saying, God, I want to do